Okay, hey everybody. Sorry, running a little late. Um, I have to share this real quick, and then we're going to be rocking and rolling with it. Not a problem. Um, for some reason, Facebook would not let me on, and just sharing this over with the site right now, the page. Um, Sorry about that. So we'll get this going right now. Hey D, glad you could make it. Um, I decided what I'm going to do with this set is I'm going to do a set dedicated to Galactus, and this is going to be a combo set. So I figured I'd start off with the easier of the group. It's going to have the Fantastic Four and a couple other surprises. And with this one, I just wanted to start out with something simple and knock it out, have a little fun with it, and go from there. I don't draw the Silver Surfer a lot. I used to when I was younger, but in recent days I have not, and it shows. It really does. I just wanted to get back into it and draw something that I hadn't drawn in a while, and this dude is just phenomenal as far as this card and layout goes. It comes to me from the old school Kirby style and Ditko style. I know Steve Ditko worked on Doctor Strange and Silver Surfer a lot after Spider-Man, and that was cool. I've got a bunch of those books, matter of fact, and I used to love to read this character. Mainly because he didn't go with the mainstream hoopla that a lot of them did. A lot of the superhero stuff was off the reservation, as it were, for a little bit. And it was just odd to see some of the characters coming out. I was reading them in the early 80s when, like the Incredible Hulk series was finishing up, and Silver Surfer and the Fantastic Four were really popular in the books, and I was just hooked in to those classic style heroes at the time. But then the X-Men picked back up, and it got really, really hot again there for a little while, and right in the mid to early 80s, or vice versa, whichever way you want to say it. This guy dropped off, but there was still a hardcore occult following to the Surfer that no other Marvel character really got the edge on until Wolverine took over, and got hardcore with everybody as a fan base. That was a big deal for me because I was reading this guy when nobody else did, and then it dropped off, and in the mid 80s, and then in the 90s he came back really heavy, and then the film came out, and Lawrence Fishburne played the voice of the Surfer, and and Rise of the Silver Surfer from Fox, one of the only Fox movies other than the Deadpool series that I really liked. I really did dig their Fantastic Four series. I thought it was really cool. Of course, I totally agree with everybody else about the whole, turning Galactus into a cloud thing. I don't know what Fox was thinking there. They had the skills and the technology at that time to make him come out way better than that, and they copped out and spent all their budget on a multi-million-dollar cloud effect, as we all know, and that was just horrible. I'm not going to put in super heavy detail into this one because I want to keep it open, because I'm going to be doing a lot of coloring with this one, and I want to make it look really good. So I'm going to kind of shell draw this one today. I know that's not what you guys are going to want to hear, but I'm going to do that just as a side note. Someone asked me if I was going to flesh him out or if I was going to wait and color him. And I am going to wait and color him so he doesn't get ruined. But yeah, as I was saying about the Fox films, they're hit and miss. You know, you either like them or you don't, and that's okay either way. It's a strange franchise, and the Fantastic Four doesn't translate very well onto film because they just don't have the energy impact on film that they do in comics. And I don't know why that is, but it is 100% true. They just don't translate as well on screen as they do in the comics. But and it's not the actors, and you know, for the most part they're pretty decent, but and the effects were decent with the Fantastic Four for the 05 and 07 films, but I did not like the dark, funky new one. You know, the remake. It was almost like AVP Requiem, which was freaking trashed because of the fact that it was so dark, and it was a pretty decent film, but it was, I don't know if they could have saved that one or not, but you know, that's a ding in the chink of the armor of the franchise, so to speak, because that was crazy as well. We won't go there, but you know, the new Fantastic Four movie, the Fox new reboot. The funny thing is, it would have been a great film if they'd have named it something else. It really would have, and if they'd have lit it better and stuff like that. I mean, it was good for what it was. The actors did a good job. It's just that the story concept and the you know, the kids being geniuses and knocking out the power grid and stuff was kind of far-fetched, and creating a cosmic wormhole and whatnot. It's just, you know, it's crazy stuff, but sci-fi allows for that, so it was the perfect genre to put it in all retrospect. But whatever, what are you going to do? Like I said, you either like it or you don't, and that's okay. And I mean, I thought it was a film that was okay for what it was. It's not one of my favorites by any means, and it's definitely not one that I'm going to put in my top 10 list ever. But it is what it is. Now, if you guys like watching this stuff, let me know, because I am putting up, as you know, I'm coming out with more of my marketing stuff and getting more into that side of my business in my public persona, which, you know, it's funny because people see that I've got it marked on my Facebook that it says, you know, I'm a social media positioning expert. And it's just like, well, you haven't done anything with your stuff. Well, the reason is because of the fact I've never branded my stuff publicly. I've always done that for clients. And the reason I said that, the reason I mentioned it is because I just changed my my Instagram account, and I got it all wired up so you guys can, you know, a lot of my art friends follow me there, but I'm looking to get more of my marketing friends over there as well. So if you guys are into that and you want to learn how to do this stuff and watch it grow and be pleasantly surprised, and some of you will be freaked out, as I've been told, check it out. You can find me at Bradley, BRADLEY _Linder, LINDER. And like I said, if you want to check it out, it's awesome. I'm going to be posting a ton of content starting today, which I posted a bunch of stuff already, a small gallery. And, you know, it's called a collection on Instagram. And I've been setting that up to push everything. So all my profiles there, and it leads to the page for this Facebook page right now until my website's up. And that will be up this coming week. I had to push that back due to the fact that I'm going to be moving some stuff around and getting all my social media racked up and ready to go. And Lone Rider is finished. That was a fly. My daughter must have let it in whenever she left the studio right before I went live. So, but anyway, yeah, I'm going to be boosting up a bunch of stuff. And I've got Facebook, YouTube, Twitter pretty much nailed. Pinterest is coming up. It's starting to pick up and get good traction on my stuff. And Instagram is the next obvious choice. And I tell you what, I am pulling out all the stops. I am working with, I'm beta testing it. And since it was sitting cold, I decided to do a bunch of stuff from my friend and colleague, Ali McAdam, which is opening a course for this. And I'm not soliciting for her or anything like that. She doesn't even know I was going to mention her. I'm just going to tell you flat out, I'm in her course right now, testing it out, beta testing it for her. And she knows her stuff. You know, she's got over 10,000 followers on Instagram. She knows her stuff. And she works professionally as an Instagram strategist. So, you know, I thought I would give it a try and test some stuff out. And, you know, if you guys know her, check her out because she's freaking awesome with that when it comes to that stuff. But, yeah, I'm boosting a bunch of stuff up, testing the new stuff from colleagues and things like that as I'm boosting my stuff out. And you guys are going to see a lot of new content coming that direction. And it started today, right before I posted here. I posted the walker, the rubber ducky walker from yesterday, and a couple of other things out there. And yeah, you guys are going to see a lot of traffic and action coming from that. So if you don't follow me here, follow me here, and then follow me over there so you can get some other stuff, because I'm going to post some tutorial links and things like that per request. And it'll be unique content, so check it out because you don't want to miss it. But a lot of it will be the same stuff here. Artistically, it'll all be the same stuff, except for, like I said, those custom tutorials and the upcoming really, really, really cool stuff that I have for the marketing side of things. You guys got to check this stuff out. You know, I haven't done this all these years just to let it sit back, because I decided to step up and go public with this stuff. And, you know, if you, like I said, if you're wondering what I mean by that, then understand that I did this behind the scenes and made a bunch of people super wealthy, which I contracted, you know, NDAs, and, you know, basically gave it all away and said, well, I don't want to make you, you know, I don't want to get famous off of this. I just want to help. And this is what I did. And I got really good money and really good contacts off of it. But I need to build up my own brand and get out there, because some of them, not naming anybody, because I'm not throwing anybody under the bus, that's unprofessional, but there are a few people in the industry that have gone out and said, hey, I'm this famous so-and-so, and this is how I do it. And they've left it hanging because they've used material that I use to make them famous. And not saying that it's an original idea or they can't use, you know, ideas and stuff. What I'm saying is, because there's only so many ideas in the world, and it's just your synergy and your approach to it. So don't get, you know, all bent about that. What I'm after is the fact that I don't want them burning people like you. You know what I mean? That's my big thing. I don't want them burning people like you. I don't want them saying, you know, here's the magic bullet, pay $3,000 for this course, and it doesn't work when I'll give you most of it for free, or give you a course that's affordable to get you the same thing. If you ask me, normally I'll just tell you, but I don't make a habit of that because I don't want to get burned, and, you know, I like to eat. So I like to eat. So that's one of those things. As you can see here, I've left this wide open, just as I said I would. Like I said, I left it clean, Kirby style, not artistically Kirby style, but let's just say how do we say this? I didn't shade it in like that. You know, I left it just coming at you really, really blunt, really open, and I'm coming with the contouring effects and the shading right afterward, which I'll be doing with the ink so that I don't stain it up with pencil, because I want this one to look metallic. And he looks like the Surfer. I mean, he holds up, but I really wanted to have a deeper look to it, so I'm going to leave that wide open. But anyway, me rambling on about my stuff. Like I said, I'm not trying to sell you on anything. I just want to push and help. That's my big thing. I want to push and help. And if I can help you do some stuff, awesome. If you have questions and you want to shoot them at me, go ahead. But it's lovely to get out there. And I said that deliberately. You know, it's always lovely to get out there and find out, and you go, hey, I'm going to do an analysis on you, and, you know, you got your book out there, but guess what? We can't find you. Because I did the exact opposite for myself that I did for my clients. I built out their platforms, and I did not build out my own. I suppressed my own. And the reason was because of the fact that I didn't want to be found. I didn't want to be hounded. I liked being behind the scenes. I'm kind of an introverted person. I like to stay quiet and calm and whatnot. But I need to get out there and start circulating, because I got a purpose. I got a mission, other than just, you know, making the comics and the dollar here and there. I'm going to start pushing out a bunch of stuff to help you guys get this stuff going. But anyway, yeah, follow me over on Instagram and help me get that out there. I'd appreciate it. And just letting you know it's there. It's going to be some content every day. Going to be posting some unique stuff. We'll be posting the card from time to time. We'll be posting. I will be posting tips of the day type stuff. Both art and marketing. I will be doing comic reviews and product reviews and book reviews and whatever else anybody happens to ask me about. I'll be posting about my podcast over there. That's going to be cool, because now they have if you don't know this, they have Instagram Live now, and you can do these 1-minute videos. And I tell you what, that's freaking just awesome. It's been there for a while now. I've known about it, and I've actually coached people to use it. But the funny thing is I never did, because, like I said, I'm kind of shy about that, and I don't like being on camera and whatnot. But it's the digital age. Got to step up and do what you got to do. So you might even see my mug on there a couple times now and again. But we'll see how it goes. But for starters, I'm going to be giving over some quick art tips tomorrow, and a couple of things like that you guys will be able to check out. Just adding in a couple of shadows here and getting this all beefed up for the metal run here. But like I said, I'm just marking specific details. I don't want to go put in all the shading, because then it doesn't. I'll have to erase all this stuff, and it won't look the same whenever it comes in. But I'm going to put it enough to where you can define it as the Surfer. So you guys can see, you know, it is the SilverSurfer. So just channeled my daughter there for a second. She does that all the time. She's real sarcastic like I am, and she comes in and, hey. She cracks me up. Oh, I wanted to shade that so bad with a couple of little feathers there, but I won't do it. I won't do it. I'm going to put in the back side of that knuckle, up in between. I'm going to do this Kirby style a little bit I'm gonna put in these awesome little hooks that he used to use on the fingers of characters that were armored. He used to do this with Iron Man, and he used to do this really well with the Surfer. Whenever he'd draw those classic like armored characters in Thor and whatnot, he would always draw these great metallic looks, and they just used to come off. It was the crackles and the armor hooks, freaking phenomenal. Just love that look, and it gave that positive and negative light like I like to use, which is a trademark of mine as well. Because as you can see now, it's got the positive light here, and it's got the negative on that side, which is the lower light trim. And if it's a three-dimensional object, it's always going to, it does not matter whether it's pitch black. If there's any light in the room, okay, there's always going to be a bright light side from a primary light and a secondary trim light like this, what I call the trim light, which is the outer trim light on every piece. And you have to do that in comics to give it that three-dimensional look. And if you don't, it won't hold that. It'll look flat. Okay, so it doesn't matter if the light's there or not. You're going to put the light there. Just like when you make solid blacks, like for Venom, if you put that little trim around the outside of your blacks and give that little highlight edge, it makes it just pop out. And the reason is because there's a light enough to push that black forward. Or vice versa, it'll invert and it'll push the light source forward, and it'll sink that black in, and it'll push that light source on the trim up. But either way you look at it, it's going to come up and shine for you and cause that refracted look, or it's going to give you that that metallic shading type of leverage. But anyway, because the funny thing about metal, let me tell you something really cool about metal. The reason you get this shadow on metal is because of the fact that that's actually the color right there. And it all blends together because it's mirrored. It's got a mirrored effect on his skin. So it shines together and it merges into this warped little figure around the contour of whatever you're looking at. So his finger is bulbous and it's round. So what you're going to have is that rounded blur. And due to the contour and the light pushing it, it's going to go in and make that mashed up little hook right there. And what you're going to get out of it as a result is black. And the reason for that is because of the fact that when colors merge, they turn black because of the fact that they turn into a big blob of mixed color. Now, true black is invisible because of the fact that there's no light, okay? But black in the scale we can see is so close to that gray, mucky look. And that's the reason sometimes blacks come out with a bluish or purplish or reddish or brownish tint to them. The reason is because all the colors that you're looking around go into that one merged spot. Get yourself, go to the craft store and get yourself one of those plastic or glass mirrored globes. They're a couple of bucks a piece, and keep one on hand. And whenever you need it, turn it and refract it and see how the light's going on and how the image changes, because it's like looking at yourself in a chrome plate of a car. It warps all the color, right? Like a funhouse mirror, it warps all the color and everything goes into a big blob that you can't tell what it is. The reason for that is you're getting that refraction right there. So that's the reason in shadow on metal it looks like a black blob, but yet in super contrast for the highlight on the other side, like over here, you might see a tiny trim line like right here, which I won't draw that, but say there's a tiny trim line on this side. And what you're getting is the light coming in from the other side may be brighter, which will give you this open area, which will give you more of a color for a color spectrum, depending on how it hits. But low light will always turn black on metal, always, because it'll blob it together. So there's your little tip. Just in case you didn't know, there was an art tip. Just in case you didn't catch it. So, I so dig this character. And the more expressive he gets, the more black you see on his face, because, like I said, it's always low light contrast. But especially with him tipping his head down, because the color contrast would be up here, and this would be black blobs if you had that going on with the shadowing. So just to let you know, people underestimate that a lot. And they're like, well, you can't do that. And da, 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 da. Yeah, you can, especially in comics, because you're going to get that whole thing going on where you're going to have to step up and figure out where the light sources are and what's being blocked and what's not, and what's refracting light and what's reflecting light. Because the refraction is this, what warps it. The reflection is what this is and where it shines. Big difference. Check it out for yourself. It's science. Pretty cool. Now, why am I doing the thumb this way? Because of the fact that that's the side of the thumb. Because if you look back here, there's the knuckle right there, right? So you got to put in that contrast right there because it's coming up from this direction. So it would be coming down onto the board and up onto the thumb on that side, and you're going to have whatever warp contrast that he makes as the figure on the board. So basically, you're looking at whatever A is either out in front, or B, you're looking at what's coming up underneath. And in this case, it's coming up underneath. That's why his palm is so well lit. And that's the reason that I'm contrasting it from this angle right here. Because when I contrast this with the shadow, I'm going to put this little line right here on the top of what would be the top of the pad for his hand. And the reason for that is because of the fact that the light's going to be shining down from here. So you're going to have it hitting down, coming off the board and going bing, right up over his hand. So it's going to give it that whitewash look. And that's why there's so much more light here than there is back here, because his leg's in the way, and you have the less light refraction because his hand and arm, his hand and forearm are blocking out what would be hitting here off the board. So that's why it contrasts that way. And it just makes a rippling effect. You have to be very cautious about where all your light sources are, especially if the character is nothing but a refractive surface or a reflective surface, depending on the light source. I deal with that kind of thing all the time in student work, and it cracks me up because they just don't get it, and until it clicks, then you see it click, and then that's even better, because then once you see it click, it's like, oh, ding. So, why did I put this edge here? Well, it's because it's going to be that little bitty pit right there in the middle of your hand because of the angle. It's going to be that little bitty pit of the second row of the flesh, the pad right there in the hand, the inner pad, which is going to get just a little bit of light from that, but it's still going to have the divots because his hands are massive, and the way he's tilting his hand up, you're going to get just that little bit of highlight right there because it's this part, then there's shadow underneath, and that's going to be blocked out for the most part, and it's hitting it at a different angle, so it's going to ding this way. So you got to act like it's the light source is digging like a beam right through his hand, and that'll tell you where it's going to go. And you can actually use your pencil as a trick for that. I do that all the time. If the light source is coming down here off the board, you go bing like that, and it'll tell you the direction it's going to reflect or refract. And like it's going to hit the thumb, it's going to be a spectrum, okay, like a spotlight, like a flashlight. So it's going to be open, and it's going to be a funnel shape. So you got to put it like this as the edge. You just got to figure out where your light source is hitting direct, and then it's going to refract back up that way and say, boom, there's the funnel. There's the funnel. So it's going to go between the fingers, and it's going to catch this one, and this one a little bit, and it's not going to catch the pinky so much. It'll go up through. So there's the edge of the funnel. There's the edge of the funnel, and the light source is going up this direction. See how that works? I hope that helps somebody at least. But now with this one, with this kneecap right here, we're going to have to do a little bit of trick work with it because it's going to be right here at this nub. This is not going to be in direct line of sight. So it's going to make a line, an edge for the kneecap. And then what will happen is you'll have the shadow from over here because this is going to be facing forward. And this part of the leg will block a lot of that out. So you'll have it like this. Now, a lot of people will say, well, why didn't you, if it's refracting this way, why aren't you getting that light? Well, I am. See this light right here? See that light spot right there? But yet it's reflecting double because it's getting the thumb, and then it's going around the thumb causing a shadow, so it's going to make that funky look right there, because it's going to tip the light this way and tip the light that way and then tip the light over and under that thumb. So it's going to make it really weird. Even though the thumb's out here, it's still breaking that light, so it's reflecting in a different way. So whatever's being absorbed here is not hitting down here. It's being deflected off. A lot of people don't take the time to think about the way that light works in that manner. But I mean, you know, this is a deep aspect of what we do as comic creators. You know, like down under here, you would think that the light would come up and hit here, but the way his thigh is, that's actually up on the side, so it's going to get the dimmer down light from the refraction, and then it's going to go this way because it's primarily pointing this direction towards his hand and towards his arm and towards his pelvis and towards up under here where you can't see, and then this side's tilted up and out to the shadow. So, you know, I mean, you can think about it all the way around the way he gets lit up, and that's just the way you have to think about it. I mean, we can do this all day, but I'd really rather not drive you guys nuts with it. I'll leave it alone for now. Study lighting. Study lighting, because if you want to draw the surfer, you got to know where those lights come from and where those lights are going and what they're doing and whatnot. And see, that muscle would be on the outside, so it would give just a tip of light. Again there. And being on the outside of that shin right there, it's going to be a little bit darker. Like that. And that's just for definition right there. Those lines will be erased. Now, up on top of the forearm, like I said, I don't want to flesh this out too much, but I'm going to put one right there because that's the top and shadow side. And we've got some funky starlight things going on back here in the back. So that's the reason why I put in these almost tiger stripe type divides, because that's where your blues and your purples and, you know, that kind of stuff will come in when you color it. Got to draw in those knuckles. Gonna go classic Kirby style here and just drawing what he used to call the wedge, because the curve of the fingers, the shadow is blocking it out from the way that the light's coming in. Like I said, remember that light source is coming down this way and hitting on the board, on the front of the board, coming down this way, hitting on the front of the thigh, on the front of the board, and then coming back up, you know, around him on the extension that you can't see off the card. So it's going to come in off the top of these as well. So it's going to cause that down shadow right there on that knuckle, because imagine it coming down this way. If that makes sense, I hope. And because of the light refraction coming back up, we're going to have a soft shadow right down here towards the end of these fingers where it doesn't have much light. And then the thumb's going to block that one, so it won't have near as much light as the others. I'm drawing that wedge there for the thumb, and I know it's blocking it out and he's metal, but still, that's the whole point. I'm just going to put a little zigzag type of thing right there for that shoulder, because that's a transitional point right there. It's like the head. That's a transitional point. Transitional point on the highlights. Transitional point. It's got multiple light sources hitting it, so it's going to make that waver thing because it's going to have more of a color spectrum look. And down in that forearm right there, now I'm going to make that forearm come up like that. And the reason I did that because of the fact that, like I said, that's going to be a shadow spot, and depending on the light of the fold and all that good stuff down in there, it's going to show a lot more color up on that side. So if the color's up here on the shoulder, then the arm underneath, the bicep and the tricep, and then a bit of the forearm that you can see right here, it's going to be a bigger contrast. I'm going to put in that little bit of the underarm there so we can see that wrap down. And put in that refraction. There we go. Now we have, once I put in the sky, I'm going to put in, I don't know if I'm going to go the cosmic route yet. I'm going to leave that open for right now because I tell you what, this being an open set, I don't want to mess it up because I think I'm going to leave it open and do something else with it. Maybe run a color through it or a background through it, or maybe even I'll default to space. But right now I want to keep it like this, wide open, because I'm not sure exactly how I want to contrast the background. So I'm going to leave it open for you guys. But anyway, as you can see, Kevin steps in here, man. I see how you are actually calling it rim light. That's funny. But I'm going to read through the questions here real quick because I got some questions and comments, and I want to check those out and make sure everybody's cool with that. Let's see. I didn't know if I was going to do the other heralds or not, man. I dig the heralds, and I think I'm going to do primarily the Fantastic Four and Surfer right now with Galactus coming up, and I'm not sure if I'm going to do the other heralds or not, but I may. I'm not going to say yes or no because I haven't decided yet. I know I've confirmed that I'm going to do the Silver Surfer, the Fantastic Four, and Galactus no matter what, but I very well could do a couple of the other heralds as well. I like Firestorm. There's Firelord. I keep wanting to say Firestorm because of my own company and because of the other character and blah blah blah. But Firelord is one of my favorites. I could see doing that. I can add that to the list. There's a couple of others in there, but it's up in the air, man. I'll have to see. But yeah, I'll definitely keep it open. I appreciate the suggestion either way, man. But I'm going to start laying these out tomorrow as soon as I finish the last page of Lone Rider coming up. I've got a couple of things to do, but then I'm going to start laying these out tonight, and I'm going to lay out this entire set so that we can get a good look at it, and it's going to make a at the bare minimum, it's going to be a subset like the Thundercats, but probably might even be a puzzle or collage type of piece. So you guys hang tight, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you very much for hanging out with me. I know I went over a little bit with the detail and stuff, but hey, you know, I get asked all the time to do more lessons and stuff, so there you go. That's a start in that direction. But anyway, check it out. Gonna be tomorrow doing one of the Fantastic Four for this thing, and we'll go from there. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Thanks for hanging.